Hello everybody, my name is John Lennon. Just kidding with you, my name is Twotris, and I wanted to discuss how politics don't need to decide who you can be friends with. So I'm going to be completely honest with all of you guys. For the majority of my life, I've had a lot of confusion regarding my own political beliefs. I grew up in a household, actually grew up in two households because my parents were divorced. My mom was very left-leaning, my dad was very right-leaning, so I always had exposure to like the punk rock side of, there is no God, stop believing in the Bible, it's all, fantasy and BS. And then on the other, where, you should believe in God, you should fear God. God makes rules, and if you don't respect those rules, your life will slowly but surely spiral into chaos. And that really set a precedent for me growing up, because I can really understand a lot of what people are trying to tell me, because those two worldviews seem to be the big ones that cause a lot of clash, cause a lot of conflict in modern Western discourse. And even with the right and left, it was a period I got frustrated with the left, because maybe I was more into punk rock, like I said, and I considered myself more blue or Democrat, and I was a stupid teenager, okay? I didn't really know what I was talking about, just saying whatever my mom told me. But then after I went to college and I found out that nobody really appreciated my stupid politically incorrect jokes, and I got called everything from the R word to, think of the epithet in your mind, I got frustrated with that. And then I flipped over to the right, specifically because they kind of took me under their wing as an existential political refugee, if you will, and I guess in a abstract sense. But in 2017, 2018, 2019, while I was watching Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson, I did notice that the farther right I went, the more it felt like I wasn't able to make friends with people who didn't resonate with any of that. And that always bummed me out, because people are very complicated. They're full of nuance. And as we're expressing our individuality, if you share whatever you believe with another person, you don't need to let the things that you've read before, the media that you've consumed before, set the precedent in the conversation you have with that person who shares a very different worldview. So Josh was saying this thing about Reddit today, for example, where he went on and he saw this guy posting about how men should be able to sleep with as many women as they wish, while a woman should only choose one man and not sleep with anybody else. And I agree that this is unfair. It is unfair logic. But then Josh said something along the lines of, I don't understand. It's just completely, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he didn't seem to understand the reasoning for this. And while I disagree with what that guy said on Reddit, just to add on to that conversation, the Redditor probably thought that because a man can sleep with as many women as he wants and still have many children, while a woman can only choose one man, that biological logic justifies his ability to be promiscuous. Now, obviously, we would call this the naturalistic fallacy, where just because something is doesn't mean it ought. But having spent a lot of time on the right side of the internet, I can kind of understand why people might believe that. And fine, if they do, I'm not going to really tell you how to live your life. But the thing with Josh, too, is I know Josh he doesn't really want to get into the whole social commentary stuff, and I'm not here to drag him into it, but, you can tell that he's more of maybe a more left-leaning guy, but even so, me, as a probably more right-leaning person, I can have a great dialogue with somebody like that and learn a lot of things which would benefit me and add more layers to the complexity of my character and what I already believe in. The thing I did not like about that 2017, 2018, 2019 period in my life is when I watched Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Jordan Peterson, or Milo Yiannopoulos is it's like candy. You watch this stuff and you're like, haha, yeah, stupid leftist. And then you walk away and you're like, well, I didn't really get anything intellectual from that. I'm just kind of confirming my own biases. And I'm not the kind of guy who wants to be like that, because growth is so important. You want to progress towards the future. And so I just had this gut feeling that one of those things was off. And I actually there's a period that I really watched Vosh, for example. That Vosh guy, the streamer. And I remember the first time I watched him, I'm like, ugh, I can't stand this guy. And to be honest, I still probably would never get along with Vosh. But in putting away my biases and trying to listen to someone like that, trying to listen to someone like Destiny, I'm like, okay, so this is what the opposite side of a lot of these arguments is. This is what I would be exposed to if I tried to have these conversations. And to my surprise, there were some good points to be made in listening to those streamers that I didn't really care for. And it got me thinking, I need to really engage with all sorts of ideas at all times so as not to stagnate. And the thing about, politics and friends is it's a shame that it's a shame when you decide not to be friends with someone for political reasons, because both of you, if you are different enough, could use it as an opportunity to make your own belief systems more profound. And the thing about me, like I said, is I'm probably more right-leaning. I wouldn't say I'm like super far right or anything. Obviously, any of the extremes tend to freak me out personally. But that said, I like to understand people. I like to know what fits me individualistically. I don't have to be a part of a group of people. I don't have to be on a spectrum. I just want to know what the people around me are thinking and never limit myself for some stupid reason like, he's a woke bastard. I would never, associate myself with him. By all means, if you consider yourself far left, but you're cool, whatever. I mean, being cool in life gets you a lot. Gets you a lot of opportunities, and you'd be surprised. And, if as long as we're able to accept some of the fundamental differences that we have and just shut our mouths and be like, hey, at the end of the day, this life is short. It doesn't necessarily have to matter. We can still value the art of conversation and, exchanging ideas. As long as we can do something like that, then maybe a good friendship could come out of it. And recently, I've had great discussions with more left-leaning folks. I've had great discussions with people who are all over the political spectrum, and I don't really feel as limited as I used to. And maybe I still have my own belief systems, but instead of that knee-jerk reaction whenever I hear someone say like, oh, I'm XYZ, instead of, oh, ugh, yikes, I'm like, okay. Is this the kind of person who's willing to have a conversation with me? Can I learn from him? Is there a possibility that we can kind of get on and have a great conversation? And if so, that's all I really want, So I don't think politics should necessarily decide your friends. And I just wanted to get that off my chest today. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think there is a possibility that we can look over our biases a bit and have better friendships, or no? You let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching.